All right. Well, welcome everyone. Hope everyone is having a good day. And first, congratulations on graduating high school. This is your first webinar transition thing. I know first year experience are doing some webinars as well. But we are the School of Engineering Hub. We are your advising hub for your first year at RPI. We have a lot of acronyms here. So if there is something that we say that we didn't say the full word, please ask because you'll probably hear it again in some fashion, and we want to make sure that you know what it means. So today, our presentation is catered towards our undeclared engineering majors. You don't have to be undeclared to be part of the session. So if you have a declared major or if you're thinking of changing potentially, this is the presentation for you. The way we advise is show you all the options so that you can make an educated decision on your academic journey. So first I want to introduce myself. My name is Kelly Stutz. I am one of the undeclared engineering advisors. I also advise biomedical, biomedical pre-med, industrial and management, and chemical and biological engineering. I'm going to pass it on to Karen.
Hi, engineers. My name is Karen Lewis, and I am also an undeclared engineering advisor. I advise environmental, civil, and nuclear engineers as well. And we are joined today with two of our other hub team members, Bulos and Kim. When you actually declare your major, currently, you'll be assigned to either Kelly or myself, but throughout the semester, we're going to educate you on different major options within the School of Engineering, SOE, as you'll hear. And depending on what major you end up declaring before the end of your first year, you will be potentially assigned to a different advisor within the School of Engineering Hub team. So you'll get to know all of us. We're all here to support you throughout the summer. So you might be meeting with any of us during those drop-in sessions on Wednesday, which we'll talk about later. So getting started, we have a little bit of a plan, and as we mentioned, we're going to be leaving a lot of time for questions and answers, but we're going to go over the major templates, how to register, the transfer course process, because that's a big part of bringing all of your transfer credits from high school to RPI to make sure that you're not taking courses that you've already completed in high school. And we're also going to highlight really important dates that are coming up on the academic calendar. Okay, so first, I think it's important for you to understand the logistics of our office and the relationship that you're going to have with us this year. We are staff advisors. We're full-time staff advisors. So that means Monday through Friday, we are here to support you, and we are first year advisors. So that means that you're going to meet with us in the fall and spring semester. And after the close of freshman year, depending on what major you end up choosing, you will be assigned a faculty advisor within that major who will resume advising you right through graduation. So we kind of have a partnership where we get all the logistics out of the way. We inform you of all of your course requirements, the policies of the institute, and everything that you're going to need to know. And then you move on to faculty who help you with more of the nitty-gritty things of your major, dealing with study abroad, research, any kind of opportunity that you want to pursue within the major. And, they talk to you about internships and also your ultimate career goals. So when you get to campus, we would love for you to stop by the office and say hello. We are located in the JEC, which is the Johnson Engineering Center. As Kelly mentioned, a ton of acronyms. You are going to see a bunch of them throughout this presentation, so stop us if we don't cover what it is. SOE, School of Engineering, Hub is just the hub. So our office is an advising office inside the Ansel Lounge. So we're kind of in a little bit of a secluded area. So we encourage you to check out our location just so you know where we are. And we do have drop-in hours throughout the year, which will be posted on our website so you can come in and see us, or you could book appointments to meet with us. Okay, so now it's also important as undeclared engineers, you're aware of what majors we actually offer within the School of Engineering. We have a new major that was approved last year. So we have an aeronautical engineering degree, but we also now have an aerospace degree, which is primarily dealing with space. Depending on which one you would want to pursue, both of them start out the same during freshman year. So that's something that we could talk to you about if you're interested. We have biomedical. We have a pre-med biomedical track. If that's something you're interested in, Kelly supports the pre-med students. So definitely get on her radar sooner than later because she can talk to you and make course suggestions for the summer. Chemical, civil, computer and systems engineering, which is more of a programming kind of major, electrical engineering, environmental, industrial and management, materials, mechanical, nuclear, and here you guys are in the undeclared position, which we encourage because having an open mind about your major is perfectly fine during freshman year because as you're going to see as you're doing your course planning, there's a lot of overlap with the majors, which allows you some time to explore different options before you make a final decision. So here is an example of what our PDF and Excel templates look like for undeclared students. I know it's a lot of words and it looks very daunting right now, but we're going to work on this together. And primarily, you're going to probably focus on the beginning courses in the fall 2024 schedule here, where you're going to be taking your math and science courses. This allows you the flexibility to integrate different exploratory courses about different engineering majors. And one course that all of you will be automatically enrolled in is the class that's highlighted on here called Better World Engineering, Introduction to Better World Engineering. It's Engineering 1700. That course is a 1 credit seminar course that all undeclared students take because it goes over all of the majors in the School of Engineering in detail. A lot of students find this extremely helpful as a resource when they're determining what they want to do because we invite guest speakers. We have alumni come back and talk about different things that they're doing since they've graduated from RPI. So this gives you an opportunity. We call it exploratory because it will give you the opportunity to explore all majors within the School of Engineering. It's a 1 credit course. It meets once a week for an hour. So it's not a huge time commitment, but we think that it will give you a lot of benefits by enrolling in the course. So we actually do it for you. So
All right,
Kelly, you want to take over with this, and if you need me for anything, I'm here.
sounds good. So we have a few resources to help you register for your fall coursework. Now, as an undeclared engineer, you have some options. There's the template that we kind of recommend, but that's not the only answer, especially if you have a specific major in mind or if you're deciding between two majors. If you can narrow it down to two, that's really helpful because then we can really guide you in a specific direction. But to make once we determine what our courses are, and that's when you'll meet with us during drop-in advising to kind of narrow down what your goals are, that's when we can use these resources, such as Quacks. This is not RPI sponsored, but ComSci or computer science. See, I've already made some acronyms. Um, they have supported this project and it's really been helpful for our students to create schedules. So I'm going to tap out of here and then I'm going to pull up Quack. So here's a little uh, preview of our website. We're going to go more in detail in this as well. But just to kind of give you a visual, on our website, we have how to register for classes, and then how do I create my schedule for next semester. If I pull up Quacks, I think it defaults to fall 2024, so just make sure that you are in that correct term. And then a course, Better World Engineering, that Karen just mentioned, that is an ENGR course, so that's something you would click. And then 1700. So there's one section, so that's the all sections, but that's something that would be added to your schedule. So that's the 4 o'clock here. So just a brief picture of this, and we can kind of go through this a little more in detail later if there's more questions as well. Go back here. All right, so you have your your Quack schedule created. It looks like it'll work. We're here to help you troubleshoot. So on that day of registration, if you're, it says that we have 21,000 options to choose from here. And if, something happens where a course is closed, and I can show you what that looks like too, that's where we're here to help. But to get to your registration screen, you'll click check registration status. And now that's where you'll see where your time ticket is. And lucky us, today is when they should have been assigned on your profile. So definitely take a look under student menu in your SIS, and click register add drop or click check registration status. Both of those will tell you what your time ticket is. Should be July 10th, some point. So just make sure you take a look and make it's on that date. Some of them may have an earlier thing if there's extenuating circumstances, but there's something else that it says, just let us know and we can help with that as well. Something else that will hold or prevent you from registering is the financial responsibility agreement. You will have to select this every semester. So make sure you click in there. It's right underneath that information as well. Click yes, I agree to the terms, and then hopefully that's one less issue you'll have for registration. All right, so I mentioned if there's a closed course, what do you do, or how do you get to the general registration screen? So if a class says SR, that means seats remaining. That means you can register for that course. Now, there are some specific things that could happen where they are major restricted or it conflicts with something. So you'll have some of these warnings. But again, we're here to help you troubleshoot to make sure that you have a seamless registration. So once you search the class that you want, then you will go into the screen, find the course that you need. You'll see that there are seats remaining here, 38 out of 38, great. And then on the side here, these are called attributes. So depending on, maybe you're looking for a communication intensive course because that's a requirement for you to graduate. Or you're looking for your Haas inquiry requirement. We'll get to that in a few minutes too. That's really important. And if you get them both in one class, such as Science Tech and Society, great, even better. Then you've met both requirements for one class. It does not double dip. You still need a total credit count, but it is nice to use them for both of the requirements. And Karen, if there's anything I'm missing, just let me know. Cool. All right, so a little bit about the INQR course. Those are called Haas Inquiry courses. That is a requirement for all first-year students. So if you can't get into an INQR course in the fall, you will have to take one in the spring. It's your best opportunity to take those courses. They are restricted for freshmen only. So hopefully you're able to get into something and something you're interested in. Also on that Quack screen, we can go over that too. It'll give you the descriptions of each of those courses. So hopefully it's something that you're kind of interested in. It is a requirement, so you can take any INQR course, or if there is a certain topic you want to learn, and pathway too, that's something we'll go over in our advising meetings. That can help start that pathway as well. So that's really helpful. Now, like I said, some things could be restricted and it's a little cut off here, but on the bottom, it might say major restricted. If that's the case, then we'll have to find a different section. But again, we're here to help troubleshoot with all those things. This is kind of a general overview. I know I'm going through it a little bit fast too, but all of this information is on our website and you can go through it at your own pace as well. I'll take a look at the INQR courses for a second, just so that people can have a visual of where to find those descriptions. So there's a few different things to do in Quacks. I like to just go to the home screen and click Haas Inquiry, or you can type in, if you know the course you want, you can type in INQR. Let's say it's 1100, and then you can select. You can toggle all or untoggle or unselect all of them at once. Or if there's a specific section you want, this is the one that works best. This is a poor example because they're all the same time, but just as an example, you can do that as well. Now, these say full because they haven't put seats in them yet. So don't worry, they will have seats in them as a first year student. So don't worry about that. We're doing our presentations before the registration time. So this is the example that we have. But like I said, if I go into Quacks, click INQR, you can read the definition of each. And on the side here, it should be pretty accurate. It's saying communication intensive and Haas inquiry. Again, it's nice to have them both, but sometimes they're not comm intensive. The genome menu, is a Haas inquiry requirement, and that's good too. At least you have met that requirement, and maybe it can go towards another pathway. Anything I missed, Karen? Okay.
I think you're good. One thing that we do like to highlight with this is that the Haas inquiry classes generally do fill up kind of quickly because obviously freshmen want to prioritize getting those. So if you are unable to get a Haas inquiry, Kelly did say there are Haas inquiry options for spring, but just keep note in mind that not all of the courses that appear here for fall will be offered in spring. There might be different courses that are considered Haas inquiry that are offered in spring. Some are offered in both semesters, some are only offered in fall or spring exclusively.
Great reminder. Yeah, this is the best opportunity to get into your Haas inquiry is in the fall. Now, if you are thinking pre-med even a little bit, please reach out to me. Your Haas journey is a little different. So please message me or email me um, or email the SOE hub and I'll make sure I get to you. And we can also meet too during virtual drop-ins. I usually, if I see someone that says pre-med, I'll grab them. So it's a little bit different. So if you are considering that route, just let me know. All right, so I'll go back to the presentation here. Sent. Cool. All right, so register courses. And we talked about this briefly, but another acronym, it's called CRNs. Those in Quacks, you will have CRNs on the bottom left there. Once you've created your schedule, there will be a CRN option. You can just copy and paste them into the boxes here on that registration screen so that you could just press submit and hopefully, fingers crossed, everything works. There's no issues, no major restrictions, no errors. And if you do, on the bottom here, here's an example, time conflict with a specific CRN. So everything is by a number. It's not necessarily by the course like ECSE 2010 because there's multiple of them. So everything needs to have an assignment of some sort. That's how the computer identifies the class. So if you do get an error and you can't figure it out, we're here to troubleshoot. There's some courses that you have to register for at the same time, such as physics with physics mentoring. They are co-requisites, meaning they have to be registered at the same. No, Karen?
No, that changed this year.
Oh, never mind. Sorry. Okay, different example. Biology, bio, and biolab must be registered together. So if you're thinking pre-med, you're most likely registering for biology in the fall. So that's where I can help you with that too. Thank
And
you, Karen.
CRN stands for course registration number, just
Great.
so you're aware of the acronym. And as Kelly mentioned, every course has a unique CRN, every section has a unique CRN. So whenever you are requesting help from us, not only including the course name, like saying, hey, I'm having trouble getting into biology, and the section CRN is blah, 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 blah. That's really helpful for us to have just so we know exactly where you're looking and we don't have to come back and ask you a bunch of questions to be able to assist.
Cool. Okay. Next slide. All right. So transfer credit. There's a few different categories here. And we know that some of the AP scores are not out yet. So that will create another layer to all of this in our advisement. Um, Essentially, just meet with us, explain to us where you're at in your AP credit or transfer credit process, and we can help guide you. Each transfer credit is a little bit different. So it's best to just meet with us or email us and we can get to your specific question. And basically, overall, AP credit 4 or 5. Once you have those scores, you will request those and send them directly to RPI. Once they are in RPI's registrar's office, they will apply that to your account as long as that you've earned a 4 or 5. There is a math component, and I'm going to let Karen explain the math AP exam.
So something different from previous years that RPI has done, and it's to your benefit, so it's a good thing. We do accept 4s and 5s in math. Now, if you take Calculus AB, for example, and you get a 4 or 5, you will get credit for Calc 1. If you take Calculus BC and get a 4 or 5, you will get credit for Calc 1 and Calc 2. However, say you get a 3 in the BC exam and you get a 4 or 5 on the sub score for Calc 1, you will get credit for Calc 1 and will not get credit for Calc 2. Previously, we never accepted sub scores, but now we are. So that's something that will hopefully benefit you. And if you have questions about whether or not to use your AP credit, usually we come back and say, hey, how did you feel about the material? Like, do you feel that getting a 4 on the exam was a stretch and that you didn't think you were going to do it and surprised you did? Then maybe you might want to stick around and retake the course. Now, one thing that is beneficial to all students, at the beginning of the semester, we offer a 2-week window where you can kind of try on a class, so to speak, like you would be trying on an outfit, see if it's a good fit, and if it's not, we exchange it for something else. So 2 weeks is that duration of time where you have that trial period. So for example, if you end up in Calc 2 because you got a 4 on the AB exam, and you walk into that class and feel like everything is just unknown to you and you're going to struggle looking at the syllabus, you get in touch with us. We could put you into a section of Calc 1 during that window. So we're probably going to be connecting a lot during those first 2 weeks of the semester just to make sure that everybody's comfortable with the courses that you're in. And like I said, if there's any questions about that going forward, you let us know and we'll work something out for you.
Great. Thanks, Karen. And then the rest are the IB credit, and those are the higher level exams. Those are 6 or 7. And then we have the Cambridge A level exams, A or B. All of the list of all these courses and information is listed on the registrar's website. So definitely take a look at that too. We have that linked on our website as well. All right. So the next thing that we get a lot of questions on are dual enrollment and basic summer transfer credit. So dual enrollment is a partnership with your high school. So there's specific uh, process for that. So you have to pass the course with a C minus or better. And this class cannot, it would have not counted towards your overall high school credit. So it had to have been additional to your high school to graduate. It couldn't have been like implemented in your degree. So you completed the incoming freshman transfer credit form that is also on our website, and we'll go through that in a few minutes. And then you request a transcript to be sent to RPI. The component with your counselor as well. Your counselor has to sign that form. Everything's listed on that form. So if you have any questions, just let us know. But that I would do that sooner than later if you do have dual enrollment, or even if you're not sure if it will apply to your major that you're interested in. Still try, and maybe it can be used as a free elective, or it could be maybe a Haas, or if it was a math or science course, it could potentially count towards one of your major requirements. Go ahead.
One more thing to add to that, dual enrollment courses need to be evaluated before they get approved for credit. Not every dual enrollment course meets the rigor of RPI, so sometimes, and namely Calculus 2 happens to be one of them, it's not always approved for transfer. If that does happen, I want you to connect with us to discuss what the alternative plans are. But just be warned that dual enrollment is not a guarantee that just because you took the class and got the college credit for it is that it can be actually applied here. We encourage you, of course, to transfer anything in or have it evaluated for transfer, but there's always that caveat that there is a possibility it might not be applicable to a course directly here.
Yeah. And similar to the traditional transfer credit approval form, you have to get that approved for each class as well. So it depends on the school. It's usually school science in the beginning, but it depends on what course you took. It could be a humanities. HAS stands for Humanities, Arts, and Social Science. I probably said HAS a bunch earlier, so I just want to make sure that we know what that means too. All right. So it's definitely important. We want to emphasize, please bring in and do the paperwork for the transfer credit as soon as possible. It's summer, especially if you're doing dual enrollment, your high school counselor may be hard to reach. So as soon as you can, AP, we know that some of the scores aren't out yet. So um, when they are released, hopefully you're, the first one on there. It just helps with our advisement and it helps you. So we want to make sure that you are getting the most out of the courses you took previously. And even if you don't feel like you will use the AP credit, still bring it in. It always benefits you to have more credit on your transcript. So even if you plan on retaking Calc 1, that's okay. You can bring in the AP credit and then we can have options. So we can move on into Calc 2 or you can forfeit the AP credit and get a grade from RPI. So you have a lot of options, but the emphasis here is bring them in early. And by you only have until the end of your first year to really uh, declare them onto your transcript. However, the earlier you bring them in, the more information we have and we can better advise you. Anything I missed, Karen? Cool. All right. So important dates. Today, like I said, your time ticket should have been assigned in SAS. So definitely take a look at that SAS student menu, check registration status, and that will tell you the time that you will be allowed to register. Consultation period really begins now. So we're going to start open or drop in advising this Wednesday. You're welcome to email us if there's another specific time. If you have a vacation coming up or something like that, please meet with us and we can kind of go through what those options are if you're out of the country or things like that. First day of class is August 28th. I believe that's a Wednesday. So just keep that in mind. And the last day to add a class and the last day to drop a class is September 13th. So I know that seems far away, but it will be here sooner than you think. And then follow us on Instagram. We post a lot on there. You'll see a special friend of ours named Manny. Manny Monday is popular and will send you a lot of reminders on Instagram as well. But our website is super important and tell you a lot of information, probably questions that you're already asking to yourself or to some of your friends. So I'm going to stop sharing and then I think Karen is going to take us through the website.
Yeah, so pretty much everything that we went over briefly here is going to be on our website. And so we kind of push students to that more often than not for resources. So a couple of housekeeping things and then I want to go over it. So if you're not even sure how to find us, just Google it because it's the first thing that comes up, SOE Hub, RPI. It's this link right here. If you link on it, it brings you to the School of Engineering. You'll see our big welcome sign here. So you guys are the class of 2028. We're currently still supporting our rising sophomores, which will be transitioning over to their faculty advisor in August. So that's why they still have their button here. But if you click here, you are going to see basically everything that we have to support you throughout the year. So all the emails that we send to you are archived right here. So if you're missing something or if your parents are concerned, you can always push them towards our website as well for that information because we do archive all of our emails. Now, this is the start of our consultation period, and one way you can connect with us is drop-in sessions. We host those every Wednesday. The timing of everything is here. And during those times, so for example, this Wednesday at 9 a.m., if you want to meet somebody, you would click here. You can't do it before. The form opens right at 9 and it closes at noon and reopens again at 1. So we get a lot of concerns. Hey, the form's not open. That means that it's not a meeting time. The form will be open when we're available to meet. Make sure you set up your WebEx account because WebEx is where we message you the link to have that meeting. And we give you 5 minutes. We say, hey, I'm here to meet with you. Join me here. If you don't respond within 5 minutes, we move to the next student in the list. And you would have to re-sign up in order to meet with somebody at a later time. So all of that will happen and we keep this updated for you and we'll update it throughout the year for those drop-in sessions. So this is really where we're going to have all of our information. We put it in the form of an FAQ just because I think they're questions you're likely asking yourself. So, you're like, all right, well, I just sat through this webinar. I don't even know where to begin. So maybe I'll sign up for virtual drop-in advising. So there you go. You have to use WebEx. So make sure in that welcome email that we sent you in that RPI email address that you're checking daily, you can find that information in order to make sure you did all of that. Now, how and when do I register? That's the big one that we're focusing on now because July 10th is when you're registering for your classes. Now, Kelly went over the overview pretty quick. Here are the step-by-step instructions for you. So if you click here, it's going to take you to a box folder, which is a whole other thing. We got to log in, we do the whole Duo thing. Make sure you have set that up. Um, and once you're in it, it's going to take you to the file in order to be able to see those step-by-step registration steps. So it's basically a slideshow that goes through every single thing. Get to know this so you feel comfortable with the process. We do have a video posted and we could share it with the chat that shows it a little bit quicker of a student actually registering for classes so you could see what to do with everything. But Quacks and SIS are two different things. Use Quacks to build your schedule, get those CRNs or course registration numbers, which you input in SIS. So Quacks is not the scheduling software to actually register, it's just to create your schedule. So that's one thing that you're going to be doing here. Now, going back to our website, which I just lost, again, we would be doing this often, so this is stuff that we kind of open on a regular basis. Again, the Google search can take you there if you don't have it bookmarked. I don't have it bookmarked on this computer. But going to this to start with anything is your primary bet. We have all of the registration FAQs, advising handbooks. Now, as an undeclared engineer, we want you to focus on your math and science courses. And when you look at the actual registration process, creating your schedule, you're going to see the PDFs and the Excel sheets that Kelly referenced in the actual presentation. You're going to download both of these bullets and you also can access Quacks right in here. So, and here's your how to register video. So this is pretty much all of the resources you need to start building your schedules. And we recommend that you build a bunch of them. Find a bunch of different Haas classes or Haas inquiry courses. Most undeclared engineers will take chemistry and physics and a math, whether it be Calculus 1 or Calculus 2, and you can find all of that information in this area. The goal is to register for 16 to 17 credits in your first semester. So as you're creating that schedule, you're going to want to make sure that you're hovering around that number. Now, the other thing that we also provide, I'm going to stop sharing just to show you um, our faces here, is basically in WebEx, we have that engineering chat. You can throw a question in that engineering chat anytime you want, whether it's, hey, I forgot how to do this. Can you help me? Or, hey, I don't know what to do about my resources. I can't get a hold of my guidance counselor. If you have questions, chances are other students do too. Don't be shy about throwing them in the chat. That way we can team advise you, give everybody the answer to the question you're seeking. The other thing that we can also do is answer an email. If you have a scenario that you want to go into length and you don't want to put it in the chat, emailing soehub@rpi.edu, which is the email that we sent the greeting email with, simply respond to that and give us your questions. But do us a favor, make sure you tell us you're an undeclared student. And if you have your RIN, which we call a RIN, your Rensselaer ID number, include that in your email. Because a lot of times students will say, hey, I'm going on vacation, I don't know what to do. Okay, what major are you? What are you registering for? And who are you? Make sure you sign your email. Give us as much information as we can have to answer your questions thoroughly. So that's kind of where we start with consultation. Right now, jump on Quacks, throw some schedules around. If you want to throw a screenshot in the chat or email it to us, we could check it for you. So I think that's it for me. I know that Bulos answered one question in the chat. We are recording this and we do plan on putting that right on that website. So again, another reason to bookmark the SOE Hub website. All of this information will be there. But if you have questions that you want to ask now, we're happy to answer them. So feel free to type them in the chat and we'll get to them as soon as you put them in.
I do have a question about getting into the chat. Um, Tyler here. Tyler, I'll try to submit it in here. I wonder if that will work. If not, you can also email us too. We can figure out how to make sure that link works for you.
Yeah, any issues with the WebEx, let us know. Obviously, email us if there's problems with that because the chat is an integral part of your career here. Because not only do we use the chat, but a lot of your instructors will set up their own chats, and we need to make sure that you're proficient with navigating WebEx because it's such a primary focus of communication for so many people. So, you can install it on your phone, you could have it on your computer. I have it everywhere I go. So we'll definitely work on that with you.
We have another question about math and testing out. Um, we do have a test out question in the FAQs, but I want to make sure we answer it for you here, Jack. So specific, is there any RPI specific tests that allow students to test out of math courses before the first semester? Besides that part, if that's a question, the answer is no. It has to be AP or transfer. Typically, students find that they want to take Calc 1 just so that they're better prepared for our Calc 2. Our Calc 2 is kind of a combination of the typical Calc 2 plus Calc 3 and maybe a little bit of multi. So it does help you better prepare for those future math classes. So that's why I would encourage you, if you don't have any transfer and things, to take Calc 1 in the fall.
And we're also going to be hosting, you're going to see all the webinar schedules on our website, but there will be a transfer credit dual enrollment webinar that our colleague Kim will be hosting that will go over all the ins and outs of the process of transferring those in. If you haven't, long story short, with APs, contact College Board today and make sure that you prioritize sending your scores to RPI. That's the first step as far as that's concerned. Obviously, dual enrollment and IB scores have a little bit of a different process that Kim goes over pretty extensively. So definitely tune into that or view the recording after it happens on Wednesday.
I just added you to the chat, Tyler. So yeah, I hope that that works. And do you have, I hope you have WebEx downloaded because that also helps too. Oh, good. Yes. All right. Awesome.
All right.
Cool.
All right, yeah, so use the chat. Every day we will be posting different things. We will update you on future webinars and just general things. You know, FYE hosts a variety of webinars that are really interesting. If your parents have questions, you can always throw them in the chat. That's what it's for. We are accessible all summer and we can meet with you on Wednesdays. That's when our drop-ins really happen. Those are the opportunity for you to kind of have any questions that you have answered, but also we could review your schedules and kind of get down to the nitty-gritty of what your personal situation might be. If you have a ton of AP credits in math and science and you don't know what to register for because all of your general study courses are pretty much fulfilled through credit, that would be a definite reason to connect with us because then we would have a bigger conversation of what majors are you considering? Because maybe we can try a different course that might cover multiple majors, and that's where, you know, the bigger conversations happen.
Another question is for the AP Chem, it does give you Chem 1 and Chem 2. Would that count for Chem 1 with Advanced Lab? The answer is yes. I advise chemical engineers. They encourage advanced lab, and it makes the most sense as a chemical engineer. Even if you're thinking of other majors, Chem 1100, which is traditional chemistry, and Chem with the advanced lab can count for both. If you end up in Chem 1100 and you're thinking of chemical engineering, I can set you up with the lab coordinator and you can perform the advanced labs outside of class, which I can put a note in your profile so that future faculty know that you've met that requirement as well. So basically, the Chem 1, the Chem AP test does give you both Chem 1 and Chem 2. Chem 2 would be a free elective in most sense in terms of a chemical engineer. So yeah, it's a great AP to have so that we have some flexibility.
And also for environmental engineers who it's encouraged to take the advanced lab, same thing applies. If you have the AP credit, you don't have to worry about taking the advanced option. Use the credit and advance. That's something that a lot of students will inquire about, and it's okay. So that would work fine. Uh, there's also asking about the time ticket. Now, the reason we want you to check your time ticket ahead of time is A, to make sure you have one. So the time tickets work that every half hour groups of students will have access to register for their courses. So the time tickets are all throughout the morning of July 10th. So everybody registers July 10th, but the time itself is what's unique. And you want to kind of set your alarm clock. If you have an 8 a.m. time ticket, Eastern Standard Time, FYI, too. So West Coast people, sorry, you're getting up early. But yeah, you want to make sure that you prioritize registering during your window because that's going to give you the best chance of getting the courses that you need. So if you're waiting until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, there's a good chance that everybody else is already registered and a lot of the course sections might be full. So prioritize the time ticket window that you specifically have to give you the best chance. Um, and so say I created a schedule with engineering 1100, 1200, chem 1100, math 1010, a Haas course. Yes, generally that is a good schedule. That's 4, 8, 12, 16, 17 credits. That would work. Now, the only thing about engineering 1100, which is Introduction to Engineering Analysis, that is the intro course that will cover all majors within the School of Engineering. But there are specialized intro courses for certain majors. For example, chemical engineering has an intro course, but it's only offered in spring. So if you're thinking about doing chemical engineering and you want to take that chemical engineering specific intro course, then taking IEA, as we call it, Intro to Engineering Analysis, might not be the best idea to take it in the fall. But if you're considering civil, environmental, biomedical, mechanical, all of those courses or all of those majors except IEA, in fact, all of them do. It just depends on whether you want the specialized course or the kind of generic one. So depending on what majors you're thinking about pursuing, that could be great, or you might want to hold off, depending. So that's where the bigger conversation comes in. But taking chemistry, yes, chemistry will work for all engineering majors, so that's a safe bet. And also physics is a required course for all engineering majors, so even registering for physics would work. We want you to take a math in the first semester. Even if you have credit for Calc 1, that means that you would move on to Calc 2. If you have credit for Calc 1 and Calc 2, you have the option of taking differential equations or multivariable calculus, but that would be a question for us because not all majors require multivar. So that would be something that say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this major. Let's double check that multivar would be covering you. And that's what we're here to support you for.
I would ensure that that Haas course is probably an INQR course. Haas course is great. You can get into any Haas course if there are seats available. However, I would encourage you to register for the INQR, the Haas Inquiry course, uh, because, like I said, it's restricted to first year students, so you'll probably have the most options, hopefully, on your time ticket. and it gives you that Haas inquiry requirement complete. So just something to keep in mind.
Anybody else?
Would if I take chem in the fall, would it be okay to take physics in the spring? Yes. You can take physics in the spring, depending on your major. I think generally they're all fairly good with taking physics in second semester. There could be some that might prefer it first, but in general, I think you're good. We kind of fluctuate between IA or physics in the first semester. IEA or Intro to Engineering Analysis is physics based or engineering physics. So it's kind of a lot of physics if you take both, but it's totally possible if that happens with your schedule.
And Tyler, one other thing worth noting, you mentioned you were going to take engineering CAD, which is engineering 1200. You are also automatically registered for that engineering 1700 introduction to better world engineering. So you might want to hold off on taking CAD until the spring. Um, it doesn't really matter. A lot of the courses like you're going to learn can easily swap in between the first two fall and spring semesters of your freshman year. So you can't really screw this up. The only thing that you can do to screw this up is if you don't register. And then we're going to be, kind of picking up and piecemealing things together at the end. So definitely get in touch with us if registration is going to be a problem for you, but register for what you can and then you get in touch with us and then we help you because registration doesn't close right away. It will remain open. So even if you go through the registration day on July 10th and then realize, hey, maybe I want to switch things up a bit, there's plenty of time to do that throughout the remainder of that week. So nothing is in stone. And even if you think that your schedule's terrible, we can always work with you to modify it to reflect what you're looking for. So, um, educate yourself on how to do things right now, ask the questions, build the schedules. Nobody is going to be starting the first day of school without a legitimate schedule. So, regardless of what happens, we will have a schedule for you by the first day of classes. Any other questions, guys? Has anyone else had any issues getting in WebEx? Are you all familiar with our chat at this point? Because we're going to start using it a lot after today. Okay.
We have all the support links on our website as well, so that's a big component to all of this. Always check your question there first, and then follow up with us. We're always editing and adding to those questions as well as they come in. We just kind of did the most common ones to start, but our email is listed on there, soehub@rpi.edu. Ideally, email us from your RPI email. Hopefully, you have that set up as well. And like Karen said, give us as much information as possible with what majors you're considering. So yes, it's under ENGR.
Or
So
core
great question.
engineering? You want me to
Um,
share quick? I could pull up Quacks.
yeah, that'd be
All
very
right.
type of visual.
Okay. We'll go to Quacks course planner. Now this note up here, it says spring of 24. If that happens to you, it happened on my computer here, just make sure you use the drop down menu to the fall of 2024. So when you're creating schedules, engineering, chemistry, math, and physics, and your Haas inquiry are pretty much the areas you're likely to hover in. Engineering is right here and you're going to see Introduction to Better World Engineering. And if you click on it, it shows you the section, the meeting times. And like Kelly said, if you click there, you can always bring it up on a schedule. Now, I have a schedule built in here. This is something that's for one of my upperclassmen. So, but one thing that you're going to notice is you have these arrows. And as you click the arrows, it's going to show you all the options that move around. So this is how this scheduling software works because it's not going to let you schedule conflicting courses. So if you were to use this schedule, it wouldn't be appropriate now, but you could just, pick the one that you like, say, oh, I really like this one. If you look at the bottom, that lists all of your CRNs. So that means that these would be the numbers that you're going to input in your course registration on SIS in order to register for this schedule. And again, if you needed to tweak things and you're going to see lines, those are conflicting courses, so those are automatically scratched from the existing schedule that you have. And if a full section does appear, it's obviously going to be full, so you're not going to want to click on that one, so that's why this one's not highlighted. So that's kind of how it works. You can unhighlight, you can highlight, you can move things around, and you can pretty much explore anything on here. And clicking on Quacks in the upper left corner will give you the main menu, and clicking on Schedule on the right-hand side will bring you to your main schedule.
And Karen, they will automatically be enrolled into Better World Engineering
As
as an
long as you're
undeclared.
undeclared, you will be enrolled. Now, if you decide, hey, you know what, I really think that I know what major I want to do. I don't want to waste my time in that course. You can drop the course. We do this for your benefit because we think that it's helpful. But if you feel that you figured everything out and you have a better sense of what you're doing, there is no reason to stay in the course if you choose not to take it. And on the flip side, if you have a friend who's like, well, I'm Aero right now, but I'm not really sure if I want to be Aero or if I want to do something different, tell them about that course. We will too, but it is an option for any student who wants to take it because we do want you to have all of your options available to you and we want to inform you to make the best decisions. Okay. Any other
Cool.
questions? If not, we're going to post this on our website shortly. And if you have questions, feel free to email us at SOE Hub or throw your question right in the chat. Thank you for joining us and have a